computer. Hi there, Nikki Williams.
Hi, Cindy. How are you doing?
Well, I'm good. I'm excited for the world to get to know you a little bit like I know you. So I appreciate you taking the time to do this little Flourish questionnaire with us today. Because of course the goal here is for folks to get to know a little bit about you. All right.
Okay, that sounds good.
Let's get going. And so it's like what I've told you, and I'll say this again. I have got inspiration in these questions from the Marcel Proust questionnaire and also from Stephen Colbert's Colbert questionnaire. So hopefully folks won't take it too seriously, but at the same time, I think it's going to shed some light on who you are.
Okay, well, I'm excited to hear what these questions are.
I'm going to start with my favorite, which is, Nikki, what is the best sandwich?
The best sandwich. Oh man, I don't know. I well, I'll just say what came up for me immediately is like I grew up in upstate New York, and there is a lot of Italian culture up there, and like I've always loved meatball subs. So like, just meatball subs that the meatballs are like part sausage, part ground beef. You've got that crusty French bread, and then you've got mozzarella, sometimes a little bit of Parmesan sprinkled on it, and that really like good tomato sauce, like that thick, rich tomato sauce. And you can't eat it without making a mess. So like bunches of napkins, right? And you just like bite in. You can't look cute while you're eating a meatball sub. You just go for it.
But it's also interesting you called it a meatball sub because I'm from northern New Jersey, right? Which is the same thing, but it's a meatball parm. But then the funny thing is that when
Yeah.
you eat it, it all squirts out. Like it's like you have to hold it because it's not as good like as a taco. Like if you're having like you're making a taco, you can fold the ends of a tortilla so the kind of the stuff doesn't end up on the. But when you're doing a parm, it all squishes together, it all comes out. But it is delightful and
Well, and
delicious.
at some point, you're eating part of it off the plate too, because it is going to squish out. Yeah.
See, good. We get to know this about you. You like a good meatball sub. All right.
I
And
do.
probably not from like someplace here. There's something around, about the Italian food in the Northeast that's pretty yummy. Not that, and you know what? There is a place here in the Crestwood, in the Crestwood neighborhood called the Little Deli. Have you ever heard of it? It's a
No.
guy that used to own a pizzeria in New Jersey opened up like that here. So they have like meatball parm sandwiches and really like that once or twice a year when I'm gonna have gluten, I will go there and have a couple slices of pizza. But maybe
What's
the
the
next
name
time
of
I might just get a parm. I might get a meatball parm sandwich because you're making it sound really good. It's called the Little Deli.
it? You might just have to call me up and be like, I'm headed to the little
Yeah.
deli.
And I take some wheat rescue afterwards. It's not, and so it's like I can feel good. I can, as long as it's not all the time. That stuff is addictive. All right. So we know what your take is on the best sandwich. Um, for you, what is your greatest extravagance?
My greatest extravagance. Oh, I have to think about that a little bit. I mean, I don't live a life without any type of extravagance, but I don't know that I'm that extravagant a person.
But an
So,
extravagance could even be something that you feel like you splurge a little on.
mm,
I know that when Hannah was talking about it, that she talked about that she really likes Facebook Marketplace and likes finding like old lamps and then doing things with them, right? So she makes them into something she used. So she looked at that as an extravagance, and I thought that was spot on.
that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought about it that way, but that helps me a little bit
Mhm.
because when you were saying like going to a marketplace and looking around, like she's a collector,
Yeah.
something that I've always collected, and it wasn't an extravagance when I was a kid, but I've always been interested in rocks. Um, and geology was my minor as an undergrad. And I used to just go when I was a kid and like pick up all of these different interesting looking rocks, different colors, and all that, and how that has turned into an extravagance is I don't like normal jewelry.
Uh,
I like big jewelry. I like unusual jewelry. And so like the necklace I'm wearing is pietrocite, which if you look at it, some people will be like, well, that looks like tiger's eye. Well, kind of like that's part of the matrix in there. And it can also be hawk's eye too. And then I'm also wearing a pietrocite ring, a really big one that has like more blue in it. So more like the hawk's eye. And this one's more like it has tiger's eye colors in it. So I love big, bold stones. The brighter the color, the more unusual, the better. Yeah, they just make me happy.
and it looks great on you, so you wear it well, right? So yeah, I would say that it's, I mean, extravagance doesn't mean that you're spending, $1 million or $100,000 on it or something, but it's something that you like, and it's a little unusual, I would say.
And I guess why it's extravagant is I honestly really don't look at the prices because I don't like diamonds or some of the other stones that are normal or that even can be really pricey. I'm looking for something that looks unusual. And sometimes it's a little bit pricey, sometimes it's not, but I don't really that's why it's an extravagance for me because I love it so much I don't pay attention to the price.
That's, I think, the perfect definition. When I do this with others, that's what do you just not look at the price and you think about, you would really like that. I like that. Well, thank you for helping me with the questionnaire.
Yeah.
And
I
now
think there's been a few times maybe afterwards where I've been like, okay, that I spent a lot of money, but it's like, oh well.
it was worth it in the moment. Yeah. And usually it's those kind of things that years later, like to me, it's worth it because I still like it all these years later. And yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. All right. Apples or oranges?
Okay. So I love oranges and citrus fruit, but they don't love me. I have some sort of like intolerance to too much. And when I was a kid, they found that out through like it would change my mood. Like I would get really fussy and cranky. Um, so I love oranges the best, but I eat apples so that I don't get cranky.
I kind of like, but that's kind of like a good answer. Like, I love them, but they don't love me. So, uh, oh, well, good. We know that. You kind of, let's say, like both, but we know what your preference is now.
Mhm.
Um, what's the most frequently used app on your phone?
Most frequently used app on my phone. Probably Spotify. I have gotten crazy about certain podcasts, and not like therapy or psychology podcasts. Things like Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard and Monica Padman. I love that one. They just interview such interesting people, and they let the conversation go where it wants to go. Because it's a long form interview. Um, a guilty pleasure also podcast is a Buffy the Vampire rewatch because I loved that show when I was younger. So like listening to it blow by blow, I still love the show and I still love all the supernatural elements in it. Um, and then LeVar Burton reads, LeVar Burton from Star Trek. He was Jury, I think it was, or a name like that. And he had that visor that he wore. It was on the Next Generation. He has the most like soothing, beautiful voice. And so he loves the same kind of books that I do: sci-fi, fantasy, speculative fiction, short stories. So he reads these amazing short stories, and I'm always like finding new authors to love and get lost in from his podcast. So there's so many more. Like for a while, I listened to some true crime podcasts, but they were freaking me out, so I had to stop the true crime.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Well, that's great. That's really, I mean, the smartphones are like good news, bad news, right? It's like but when you can get that type of enjoyment, like what you're talking about it out of one of the apps, um, that's great, great value, right? All right. Um, If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
Change one thing about myself. Hmm. Maybe if I was a little bit more purely extroverted, because I'm a person I walk this tightrope. I am as much introverted as I am extroverted. So like I can go out and have a good time and really enjoy people. But there's a certain point that happens where I'm just like, I've had enough of other people. And I can't dictate that. It just happens. So I wish maybe it was like a more subtle thing for me that like I could feel it coming on, or that maybe I was just a little bit more extroverted, because when it happens, I'm like, okay, I need to check out now.
Yeah. And it sounds like even you'd almost like it not to happen sometimes. Like I really would like to stay a little longer. I can't, but I have no influence over this. I know where I'm at and I gotta split.
That's true. Cause I'm like, if I stay here, if I enjoy this longer, like I will be no good tomorrow. Like I will need to be in my cave longer. So yeah.
Yeah. Nice. But at least you have a good mix of both. So that's the
Mhm.
good news.
That is good.
Um, what is, one thing that you like to do to de-stress when you know you need to to chill and get rid of some stress? What's your go-to or one of your go-tos?
Well, I'll probably end up saying more than one, but I've become really fond of this breathing technique called cyclic sighing, where you breathe in once regularly, like into your stomach or into your chest, and then you breathe in again, like just a little bit. So it's inhaling through your nose. And then when you exhale, you just go, like just nice. The sigh is so important because it's like the sound's almost telling me, as well as letting out the breath nice and slow, to just relax, you
Yeah,
know,
I
I just
love
feel it like melt away.
Mhm.
So that's one. I love nature, so I love walking. Even if it's just around my neighborhood, being outside really helps me to just, without like earbuds or anything like that, just like listening to all the sounds and walking and looking at everything. Um, and then I'll say like a guilty pleasure I have is n- sometimes Netflix, because I'll find a show that I never heard of before, I've never seen before, and I'll like watch just a little bit of it, and then I'll find out I like it, and I'll binge it. So I might, do that on like a half of a weekend, or if I'm done with my work week. And so like shows like Never Have I Ever by Mindy Kaling.
I love that
Um,
show.
yeah, just like
Yeah,
really just silly, but like
yeah,
sometimes there's serious moments, but it's just like fun stuff.
yeah. But I'm hearing it, but it's nourishing in some way. You feel good about it and you're relaxing and not being productive or not in the middle, like not doing four things at once, just that one thing. I'm just gonna relax and enjoy a few episodes. But I really like also, of course, the outside when you said without headphones, right? And I mean that it is my go-to is get outside and 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 the sounds of the outside are so important to me to help me to chill out, like the sounds of the birds and the trees and even the cars and the other animals and the way that maybe the breeze sounds through the branches and the leaves, right? And to me, it just like even especially even just the birds, and even at night, sometimes I have my little window open and there's frogs, right?
Those little chirpy frogs.
Yeah, that I can hear it, and I'm like, this is what it's like. If I had headphones on, I would miss all of that. And so I like that that's a go-to. I wish more of our people would do that. But then some people don't live in a neighborhood where you can just walk outside and feel okay. Yeah. I mean, I
There's
don't even know whether I just got some pepper spray gel to keep on the dog leash, right? Because there's just been some weird things going on, but I'm still like gonna go out for a walk without headphones. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just knowing that connection and feeling that connection. Because I even feel it just, I don't have a big yard, but I love like gardening and doing yard work, or even just like feeling the grass or putting my hands in the soil. It just reminds me of like there's so much more than whatever I'm worried about or thinking about.
And, I want to say that when I asked it, because I'm asking the same questions to everybody, that both Donna and Angela both said gardening, getting your hands dirty in the soil as their de-stressor. Yeah.
It also gives you something to look forward to, because like planting things and watching it grow and
right. Yeah. And even right now, this time of year, it's like, oh, did it go like a little bit more today? Like, after the rain, I have some new things that were planted, and I find that to be exciting at the moment. This is my idea of fun. Oh, did the root beer plant get a little bigger today?
I don't mind being a geek. Like I get stuff like that.
Which talent would you most like to have?
That I don't have? Huh. It's split. I would either like a talent for picking up new languages, because going through school, I learned both French and Spanish, but like speaking them, I never got the chance to be immersed in them. And so, like, I'm not great at speaking them at all. So, I would love to be able to pick that up easier. Um, and I'm not musical. Like, I love music. I even like to sing, and my voice is not bad, but it's not good either. But just either singing or learning to play an instrument, and having spent that time to learn how to read music and all that. I mean, I guess I could, something maybe I could pick up or try to pick up at some point, but I would love if that just kind of happened naturally for me.
Because right, it's a lot of work. And I know you don't happen to have 30 to 40 hours a week of spare time to do that. But it's funny that you said that, because I want to say that most of the other folks, when I ask this question, it's something musical or rhythmic or something related to that. So, and language too, like what you're saying. So
I did take a class. It was during the summer, the early part of last summer, um, drumming. Um, there was a lady who owned a drum shop. I think it was called Drums or something like that, down by the old Kirby Lane. And she had closed the shop, but she was giving lessons at a yoga studio nearby once a week. And I can do that. Like, she brought all these different drums, and I even own like a conga drum. Um, and I don't have the best rhythm, but like I could pick it up and have fun with it. And I think that's what I like the best, of like all these people sitting around having fun with it and creating something together.
yeah, yeah, I guess that. Well, good. See, look at what we're getting to know about you. Um, what is one of your favorite movies?
I don't know that I don't know if I can answer that. I love so many different types of movies. I don't know that I have a favorite.
But I said one. So if you have like 10 favorite or 10 that you like a lot, what just one for fun would you share with us?
Hmm. Okay. I've always liked animated stuff. And there's this movie called Spirited Away
Mm.
by Galib Studios. It's Japanese, and he's the guy has done like a ton of different animated movies. So Spirited Away, and he also did this one called My Friend Totoro. And it's bringing like a magical element into like an ordinary world, but usually for some reason, like to open somebody's eyes in some way or to help them through a rough period in their life or something like that. And I could watch those movies over and over again. And um, yeah, some people in my life were like, those are kids' movies. And I'm like, I guess I'm a big kid.
Oh, come on. I mean, I love the movie Aladdin, for crying out loud, right? So, yeah,
Yeah, it's not something that they can share with me because they're not into it. But yeah, I don't care.
well, good. I'm glad it lights you up. This is good to know, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason why we're asking these questions, right? We get to know all these things.
Mhm.
Um, two more questions left, but before we go there, I want to address the donkey in the room. Do you want to tell us who's behind you and who's in this video with us?
Sure. At first, as I think I've explained to many of the people that I work with, this used to be a whole pretty scene behind me, but I didn't want to put holes in my walls. I wanted to use those adhesive strips, and one by one, all the other pictures fell, and the lightest, smallest pictures left, and that's Henrietta the donkey. And I was on a vacation with a friend, and we happened upon this art fair, like of just local artists. They weren't professionals. And as we walked around, I saw this donkey picture. And for some reason, it reminds me of my dog, Duke. It's something about the donkey's spirit and the donkey's goofiness and kind of like just a kind look to the donkey. And so I had to have it. Um, and I put it up there, and I think anybody who I talk to on Zoom, like they get a smile or a laugh because of Henrietta. So
Mhm.
maybe some other stuff will go up at some point, but Henrietta is my constant companion when I'm on video calls.
And Henrietta apparently really wants to be here with you, right? She
I
was
didn't,
not, she
I
was not
didn't
going to fall down. Yeah. Yeah. So that goes, it's kind of a nice segue to the next question. Dogs or cats?
both, but right now my heart belongs to a dog. His name is Duke. Uh, he's a mutt, part Labrador, not Labrador, part oh my God, Great Pyrenees. I'm sorry, Great Pyrenees, Samoyed, and Boxer. But
Wow.
when people look at him, they see a floppy-eared German Shepherd, but there's no German Shepherd in him apparently. He's a rescue. He's just he's excitable and he's really sweet. He's about 75 pounds, and I love him.
That's
But I do have a cat in my life too, uh, who's also a rescue. And I've never been a cat person. I've never really like gotten along with cats, but this cat was going to be euthanized or killed if he got returned again. And so really it's my stepdad's cat, but I hang out with him a lot too. And he has the worst disposition, but everybody in the family loves him. Like for no reason, he will just like swat you or follow you and yell at you. He's not a sweet cat, but we all we all love him, and we would never ever think of returning him when we first got him because we're like, well, he's a jerk, but we don't want him to be killed, so we're gonna keep him.
That's like so wild, because don't you like as the part of the therapist, like, do you have something you want to talk to me about? Is there a reason why you could be such a jerk sometimes, right?
And they know he was not treated well in the homes he was returned from, and he's literally drawn blood from like everybody in the family and lots of friends, but we all had this soft spot for him in our heart. So yeah, Mikey's staying with us.
All right. Well, how nice. Y'all are making Mikey part of the family and making room for him being a jerk. Totally all right, right?
Definitely.
All right. Last question here. What is your most treasured possession?
Most treasured possession. Hmm. Well, I don't know that this is my most treasured possession, but it's what popped up in my head, and it's definitely one of them. But my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, she lived until she was 108. And when she passed away, I didn't get this right away, but her wedding ring made it to me like
Mm.
maybe 5 years after she passed away, because an aunt of mine had it. Um, and I wear it sometimes. It's it's really not like a special looking ring, but I feel close to her when I wear it. And she was such a like a larger than life figure in our family and just in my life, just a very strong woman, but also just very like maternal, but maternal that passed way past the bounds of her own family. Like she was always like adopting kids at church who they had families, but she knew that they needed someone or something, so she would spend extra time with them, and really just kind of care and look out for them. So yeah, I thought
That's beautiful that that ring made it to you. And when
yeah.
you say that she was strong, you know, it's not lost on me that the diamond is like one of the strongest, um, you know, I don't even know how to say it. Molecules, metals. It's not a metal, but one of the strongest pieces in
Oh, yeah,
around, right?
definitely.
So how fitting. Now, that's beautiful. Yeah. So right, I think about your most treasured possession. Like if you had if you only could grab a few things, you know, as you were running out of your house, right? You know, and there's like a crappy fire happening, you know, what would you grab? And I'm sure that ring would be there, right?
Yeah. Along with it's in a box with some of my other unusual stones. So yeah, I'd grab that little box.
Yeah, coming with me. Well, Nikki Williams, psychotherapist with Flourish. You are now known. I know you. I mean, I knew you before, but now I know you a lot better. And I hope that those who are watching get to really get to know a little bit more about you, and hopefully they'll want to work with you.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think this was an unusual like way to do it, but I liked it. Like people
good.
get an unexpected glimpse instead of like how do you approach therapy type of glimpse, you know?
Exactly. It's like we're all, and you, I mean, you exemplify this in such a great way, but you know, at Flourish, we really try to, I really want clinicians that are not only mindfulness based, but are more relational in the way that they are with their people. And you hit that, you know, with all your folks. And so in this way, we're just getting to know you in a relational way. And hopefully it lands on some people. So thank you for your time. And yeah, thanks.
I enjoyed it.